It is 12:01 a.m. So now it is 5 of 5, May 5th, 2020. We got a special guest here tonight with us. We got Matthew. He is a veteran. He is from TruthNotFiction. Truth Not Fiction Matters. All right, you got to remember that. Truth Not Fiction Matters. I'm going to have that link down below, .com, of course. And so we're just going to bring him on. He's kind of introduced me to some of his other guys that he works with. You guys have probably heard of like Space Shot 78. And I'm possibly here going to be doing a show with them in the next few days, or maybe next week or later this week. We're going to get that worked out. But again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you are subscribed, folks, so that way you get notifications. Take a minute to maybe ring that bell. Take a look at it. YouTube's always kind of, messing with the algorithms and making changes. And people are talking about, I'm not subscribed anymore. So make sure you are subscribed. All right. Topic tonight. No agendas. We're just going to kind of free flow it. But it is. Me and him were kind of warming up, going over a couple different things. And it is, folks, it is a sea of lies out there. At this point, a lot of disinformation, a lot of just it's a tough battle, swimming through the sea of lies, trying to find the truth and trying to bring that to you guys. All right, without any further ado, we're going to introduce our guest here. Brother, how you doing? Good to meet you.
Pleasure to be on, Mike. Appreciate you.
You guys, you reached out, Matthew. Just Tell the audience here at the Patriot Hour a little bit about yourself, maybe why you are here. And when I mean that, not here on my show, but like, in the YouTube realm, or on your website, Truth Not Fiction Matters. Just tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your background, maybe whatever you're comfortable with, and what's your mission and why you're here.
Well, I started in 2017. I watched a multitude of channels, social media, read a lot of news outlets, kind of, I'm sure, as you have done. And I guess being a Coast Guard veteran, seeing some things when I was in the late 90s, doing drug interdiction, SAR, search and rescue. I saw the campaign that Trump ran and everything that was going on. I decided to, instead of being in the back, I decided to step forward and start the website. Appreciate you displaying that. I kind of do the same thing that Drudge Report does. I search through the minutia of articles every day, and I post things. In particular, geopolitical is my main focus. But what got me started, Mike, was I was really worried, like so many others like yourself, the direction of the country. Then we had Trump win, right?
Yeah.
They totally did not expect that. That was the ultimate win. And man, I tell you where to start. What you were saying leading in, there is a sea of disinformation. As I told you, I first saw you I saw you before you did some shows with American Joe. Another good Patriot, another good channel. I actually went out and met Douglas Ducote. We did a little veteran presentation, actually, out in Pensacola.
Okay.
He's quite the individual, ex-law enforcement veterans. I've done a few shows with veterans. I just love the country in general. And when I saw things in the Coast Guard as far as trafficking of drugs, I started doing a little more research from Ruby Ridge,
Waco.
Oklahoma City, Waco, all the way to 9/11.
So it's not
the
always
death of JFK Jr. was a big one for me, Mike. I don't know how much you know about that. I actually knew the petty officer that was on the 110 the morning they brought JFK Jr. up,
Yep.
and a lot of questions with myself and the country surrounding that whole flight, that whole morning, right?
Yeah.
Because
We were there for the first 12 hours. We just happened to be out in that area that day. I was on the USS George Washington, CVN 73, or is it? Yeah, CVN 73 for 5 years, just under 5 years. So that's awesome. You're Coast Guard. Yeah, similar rank. I was in a rank that I actually almost converted over to the Coast Guard after my first four. They were offering me, I think at the time, 15,000. Keep your rate, because I was a DC man, damage control. So that was a rate right in the Coast Guard, right? Damage control.
yes, sir. Well, you look
Yeah.
like a bosun mate. Just wanted to tell you that. That's what I
Yeah.
was.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, that's bosun mate is Mike. That's the rate that you do when you can't sit inside and you like to drive boats. And consequently, I still drive boats. I think I'm the only one left
Yeah.
on the Block Island 1344, and wouldn't you know it, they auctioned the boat off. I think it was in 2014. It went to the Whale Watchers deal, Sea
Okay.
Shepherd or whatever.
So it wasn't getting turned into razors or nothing, huh?
Uh, no, but that was myself and a couple of colleagues. We weren't expecting that one either. But
Yeah.
uh, you know, but
I appreciate your service.
same to you, brother.
Yeah.
Same to
Thank you.
you, and I appreciate what you do. You're definitely a lot better at it than I am. And as we were talking leading in, and I'm honored to come on your show. Finally, I've watched you probably for 2 years. Um, I don't have an agenda. I'm here, Mike, to disseminate truth. I do believe everyone has their First Amendment right to say whatever they have to say, but I think it's imperative. Then you and I talked about this. Space Shot 76, RDoc with our Dr. D. We've got several folks over there. Red Pill 78 over at Table of Titans. I help kind of contribute to that over at Patriot News. And I've also always told them we all have our certain skill set we can bring to the table, but at the end of the day, the Patriots need to stand behind the president and rally for the good versus evil battle that we face, because it's not over. This battle is definitely not over. If anything, I think, in my opinion, it's intensifying. You know, what brought me out was the harm to children.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than harming children, Mike.
That's right.
Selling drugs to children on the streets, etc. The insurmountable amount of corruption that we see from day to day lives leading up to DC. You know, I'm working on a thing with Venezuela. I've also had some border information linking funding. I'm waiting to receive that. Not sure how I'm going to put that out. It's you have hard decisions, as you know, doing videos. You really have to be careful. You have to really research, vet it, and you have to kind of be real careful what you put out there.
Yeah.
But I did a little bit of work with Matt Couch over at American First Media Group with Fast and Furious. Uh, man, uh, some of the information that we talked about and what we researched is mind-boggling. Benghazi was a big issue for me when we lost the 4 Americans. And I think I'm going to try to interview some more veterans here in the future. I'd like to get some of those guys that were there that night. I'm going to try to set up another interview with the gentleman that runs the Bearded Vet company,
Yeah.
but he was actually involved with the actual Black Hawk Down event. So,
Wow. Wow.
there's folks like yourself. I'm really supportive of the veterans. I take it personal when folks kind of chastise or talk about the law enforcement community or talk about veterans kind of in a not so good way because I've been there. I've served. I've put in my service as you have. I've got current guys right now still serving over in the sandbox, and they love this country, Mike. I mean, there's
They're
um,
passionate. This is, they wouldn't be over there most, if they didn't. So
yes, sir.
well, put it that way.
Might
That's,
have
I
been more
guess,
than what you were wanting, but
no,
unity.
I appreciate it. I just try to do the same. Like you said, I've come. By the time I started this channel, I started February of 18. So I think I'm just hit the 3 year or going on the 3 year mark or just hit the 3 year mark.
You got to be kidding me. You've only started since 18. You've almost
February,
got
February 18, February of 18. It was my first video. I remember finally getting all this set up and getting the echo worked out. And then I told my buddy, I was like, I'm going to make a video today. And I got one out. I made one. And I said, I don't have nowhere to put it. So where do we want to start? And our plan was, to go to many multitude of places, but we started with YouTube. I said, I think the most people asleep are probably over on YouTube, man. And then I was like, and that comes on every phone. So who wouldn't want to use YouTube? I mean, they're pre-installed on every phone you can buy, and everyone's got a phone. So let's go there. It's been nothing but
right.
issues since we came here, and been banned. Patreon's been shut down, and like you were talking today, the PayPal. That's the only thing we got left. The PayPal. You see down below all these the members. YouTube gave
Yes,
that
sir.
to us one day. One day I'm like, oh, I got the member thing. The member button showed up. So I created some tiers, and I thought this is the best way. If people want to give a little something, they can. And it did. It got up to 160 people. Just last month, it peaked out 160 people giving a variety of $5 each. I had a couple people giving 49 a piece, like 4 people. So 4 people were given $200, rotating a month. Well, then YouTube said, yeah, you're demonetized. They wiped it all out. But that wasn't why we were here. It just, that allowed for me to get better equipment for sure. It was great while it lasted, but I'll be here till I die. That's not going to stop it. But the point was, and the point always will be, freedom, liberty. That's stamped in my thing up there. It's just like to promote liberty, to promote our freedoms, to make people aware of the laws, like these things. So we talk about Q. I don't endorse per se like anything. I don't have any ties to anything. If I found Q information to ever mislead me, if I felt that like that's misleading, and I guess there could be like, well, hey, it said trust Ray one time. I guess there's certain things we won't know till the end. Like I said, at the end, if, from what I've seen, I'm thinking the same for like, because Q said trust Kansas. And that's, I believe, Ray. I think it was Ray from, or no, that was Pompeo. See, I'm getting it mixed up. So I think he straight up said trust Ray, So we'd have to wait and see, like at the end, like if, Ray doesn't go down, but then he's in front of the camera and everyone's like, so why didn't you do this and that to this person? And then the mic gets there and he's like, well, because there was a special mob style case going on above us. And we were
Right.
aware of that. Unfortunately, we couldn't say into a microphone to let you guys aware of that because that doesn't work on an ongoing investigation to let everyone know because it doesn't work that way. Do you ever, let me tell you quick, do you ever hear the art of the informant? I'll tell you this real quick. This is a real quick tidbit, just something. Trump in like 1977, was looking at that land down in Georgia, Atlantic City to build his casinos. We all remember his Atlantic City thing. You know, they're making fun. Oh, that went bankrupt. Who has casinos that go bankrupt? Ones that pay out go bankrupt. But anyway, he wanted to build a casino down there. And the mob was really heavily engulfed in Atlantic City back then in the early 80s, late 70s. So on Trump's own behalf, looking at the land where it was going to be at, he made a special visit, got it orchestrated to go visit with the FBI. And while he was over there, he laid out a plan like, look, I'm going to build a casino here. The mob's going to come in and want to be in. Why don't I let the mob come in, but you guys are there too? And the FBI was like, interesting. Well, if you end up breaking land and actually doing that, get a hold of us. Well, that's how the story goes. We know he ended up breaking land. And the casino opened up in like 84 or 83 or whatever. But so I guess he let the FBI in. They were pit bosses. They were whatever, cooks all around, pit bosses all on the floor. And then the mob was in there too, wanting their 10% and taking stuff out the back door. After a period of 3 or 4 years, and it's like, well, as people were breaking crimes, why weren't they arresting them? Because we know that's not how it works on sting operations. You get it all at the end. So this is different. Most of us agree when there's some corruption in the government in the past years, it's one for one, things come in. Hardly nobody ever went down. But if it did, it was in a different manner. So I don't know. And that could all be fairy tale as well. But as far as stories
No, that's
coming,
actually, wow, Mike, you just put this whole thing in perspective, kind of, sort of.
I'm telling you, man, I see it from the evidence of the good articles, right? There's not a lot of them out there, but you named them earlier. We were talking 4 hours ago, I think, before I fell asleep, because we were supposed to do this show way earlier. Nobody at home notices that because it's going to come out tomorrow at a prime time. But me and him, I kind of almost missed this show, and I'm glad I didn't. But brother, I'm telling you, you pointed out good articles too. John Solomon, Sarah Carter, there's very few. We can probably say like 5 or 8% of the media's following these nuggets that that we're kind of following. And there is a story here. And I do take Trump at this point. One of his biggest things when he was running was the swamp, doing these certain things that I have seen him attack now. It's like, I'm not going to play into, well, you didn't get that done. Well, we know how McCain voted on the health care. Like, to every other Republican, he said he was good with it. They're like, are you sure if there's any changes, all of us Republicans in this room can do something to make sure that you're good with it, McCain? No, I'm good with it. I'm good. And then when they got out there, he's like, no. And that was his way to, so there's games, no doubt.
Right.
I think Trump's tried, in my lifetime, from being coherent on presidents at the age of paying attention and stuff. I see something different going on here. People are like, no, that's where you're duped because this is, part of the New World Order. I've been hearing the whole doors getting kicked in for 40 years. They're going to drag us veterans out and put us in gulags. And I just don't believe that. Not that it couldn't happen. Not that governments can't get that treasonous and that bad. But I'm seeing the states. This, Trump showing since the minute Trump won, we've had the states mouth off and be against him. Not all of them, but, refuse. Not only that, local officials, state leaders, and then lots of people in the federal government have created sedition with their mouth, which is against our, there's rules against that, inciting violence to the people. Trying to get them to riot, especially when it leads to citizens rioting and then hurting each other. If you incite that and you're a politician, that's like a bad no-no. So maybe they've been keeping notes this whole time. I mean, that's what Pompeo just said. Right before this corona, I'm talking a lot here. I'm going to let you talk here in a minute. I'm going to say this. Mike Pompeo, a lot of people don't like him. They don't see the angle that I'm seeing, and I don't know if I like him, but what I do see is a glimpse of something that he said. He came out, he went to that.
He shocked me today, Mike, actually, yeah. Pompeo. I don't know if I could even share the screen. Don't even know if you...
The Twitter...
Man, there's an article that came out today, and how can I explain this to put it in perspective? We've been seeing the MSM, right, since the Trump talked about the Wuhan 400 deal
Oh, yes.
out of a laboratory, right? Well, Pompeo just dropped a bomb today. He actually backed the president and mentioned that there's more evidence leading towards
Oh, wow.
China. Uh, I couldn't believe when I saw that. I think it was on. Let me
Well,
see.
I got
It's
an intel, and I'll share it right now, that the top military are investigating. They have been since day one, and they're coming to the conclusions. You know.
Washington Beacon.
Okay. Yeah,
It's a site I check on from
that's a good
time to
one.
time. And, you hit the nail on the head, Mike. I mean, if you go back, I don't know if you and I talked about, I was talking to somebody the other day. Mike, you know what they're scared of? You want to talk about the New World Order? See, my biggest deal is this. I I look at everything. Kind of, you and I have that in common after getting to know you. And I've got huge respect for the work that because you cover everything. Like the video today of the ex-marine talking to the cops. Wow. I got to make a admission here, man. I screenshotted that and I put it on my channel. It's like holy
Share
cow,
that
this guy
thing.
just
Take it. Yeah.
dude, it was awesome. And I mean, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
That
A
guy's our
video's worth
brother, right?
10,000.
He's our brother, and he was representing
Right.
us. He spoke for you today. He spoke for me. I
That's
went to
right.
Richmond. I
Yes,
went down to Richmond. Meet with American Joe. I was down in Richmond with them.
I saw you.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
we do
what
what
was
we
that
can.
like, Mike?
That was
What was that? was- What was that like to be there?
that
To see
was
it.
it was very. I'll remember that for the rest of my life. I can't. How awesome. Not one. Misfiring. You'd think with that amount of weapons, most people that aren't. They think, well, there's so many guns that you bump into each other. They're shooting off. No, not with people that are smart and trained. And I feel more comfortable and safe around all them people down there than I do at other places sometimes because I trust all those you know constitutional loving First Amendment, Second Amendment supporting people. So we had a lot in common, and I had a great time. And you know, the reason of being there was huge. To make sure is because they've been doing that year after year. I was stationed down in Norfolk, Virginia. For just under 5 years. So yeah,
I've
it
been
was
there a
cool.
couple of times with the rough trade and shipyard
Yeah, like
periods.
Newport News or yeah. I was in
I know. Yeah.
Chesapeake, or not Chesapeake. My daughter was born there. Dang it. I was in the shipyards, Portsmouth shipyards. We got overhauled in there for 18-month overhaul or something. It's supposed to be 24 months. We did it in 18. So
Well, we went to Gitmo a lot too, Mike, and the Navy and the Coast Guard like to do, hazing. So we'd go on the paint float and
yeah,
black out the name and put for sale. And they would do something worse, Puddle Pirate Navy or whatever, you know what I mean? But, I'm just so happy and honored to finally gotten to meet you and come on here. But what I was wanted to put it and say, just put it in perspective, is we should know why we're here. You and I think, are on the same plane. As folks out there on your channel for which might see this later on, folks listening over on my channel, the TNFM Patriots, I will refer them. Um, I'm no one special, nor did I ever want to be. I try to help other channels out, like I'm trying to get you with those folks over there at Table of Titans. And Obama said it in 2004. Yes, I know the controversy surrounding Barry Soetoro, Barack Hussein Obama. I mean, if you look at the political spectrum, my brother is actually, we don't reside the same on politically, but he's been to every college he could think of. He's very, very smart. I promise I won't be too long winded, but there was a reason. I think you and we've made a connection, Mike, and it's important for folks to understand. I digress. Obama made that keynote speech, right? That night when Scary Carrie was running,
Yeah.
and he came out of nowhere. Mike, I remember watching that speech like it was yesterday. And you remember towards the end, he said the obvious, and it could have been an agenda. I don't know, but I think it was a message that they let us know that night through Obama's keynote speech. Just follow me here, but he said it that night. It's not the red states or blue states, it's the United States. They let us know, folks, what they're most fearful of, and that's for all of us to awaken. You get what I'm trying to
Oh
say?
yeah. Oh yeah.
There's so much pressure. You see it on social media. We see it here on YouTube. We see it with other podcasters. We see it with the mainstream media. We see it even within our own government, even in the press room. I mean, look at how they attack President Trump from day one when he came down the escalator to where we're at now. They do this with racism, the left and right paradigm. I'm really kind of a Ron Paul libertarian slash kind of like you are a constitutionalist. I really care about what this country was founded on, Mike, from 1776. That's why every video I say, long live 1776. And before you and I um, did this show, and I've got to admit something to you, so you're not the Long Ranger. I kind of took a cat nap too, brother. So I'm not going to let you. Had a long day, but working on stuff like you're putting out these videos, and I'm trying to do the same. I never really intended on being a big channel. My goal was to do research, and I provide info sometimes to a lot of other channels. And I watched the Dave Hodges Common Sense Show, Dave over the X22 report, SGT. Those are the guys that I came up watching. And I have to admit, I even in the earlier days until all the stuff got crazy and he just went just totally out the box. I even listened to, the guy in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
I did. I used to, I used to call in. I talked to Mike Cernovich. Like you and I were talking before we came on. I mean, you just see folks go here or go there. But, I was talking to my little girl tonight. And Mike, you'd laugh at this. I have two kids. And my daughter's like, it's almost, Dad, like you have a second job. You drive a tugboat, then when you come home, we never see you. Why do you do it? And I said, well, this was after dinner tonight. I said, honey, I do it because I and others, I'm not alone. I do it because I care about this country. I care about the future of this country. I have so many folks that, like yourself, that I collaborate with. I'm not in this fight alone, but I do it, honey, because if we don't do it and things turn out like the evil ones want, I don't want you asking me years later, hey, Dad, why didn't you do something about that? Why did we not have the freedom of speech? Why did we not have the Second Amendment to own a firearm, or why do we have so many restrictions? We just saw Canada lose the right to own our AR-15s, Mike.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why yourself and all the others went to Virginia, and I've heard both sides.
Yeah.
I've got guys that I love dearly. They want a revolt in this country. I don't want that. I want folks to see the light from the darkness. I want folks
Learn the
to rise.
rules of our life.
Right,
That's
right.
they've been. See, this is where from 1781. If you know what happened then, Lincoln pulled the Insurrection Act to arrest traitors within our country. It wasn't to go after the common man. It wasn't to go after it was to go after rogue people in the states and the federal government
Yes,
and then some of the states. So but anyway, our Constitution went offline because they killed him, and he was supposed to undo that process shortly after. But when they took him out of the game, it stayed, and that was the trickery. That was the subversion of the usurpation of our Constitution, where ours went into the dustbin, and then the feds created theirs over that 10-year, 8-year period, and we kind of came out of it with ours on the dustbin and theirs in full action. And that's, and then with a series of other events, right? We can go into 1913 with the Fed Reserve, and then the gold standard coming off that in the 33, and then in 72, I think
yes.
Nixon even went further with it to really just, we didn't have gold anyway, but he took us off that whole standard of it or whatever. So there's lots
Well,
of,
you can go back and talk about the law of 1939, like when they reduced the ability to own
gold.
automatic firearms
That's right.
and gold. The
Yeah.
creature from Jekyll Island. We know about the Titanic that went down. Man, my better half kicked me out of the house when I started red pilling her about. The Titanic might not have been the Titanic. Oh, get out of it. Oh, you've lost it. Get out of here. So, no, it was actually an insurance job, the lead up
And then the people
to
they put
the.
on it, but the other guys didn't go on it. I think I did a video on that. I've done a few on that,
I watched it, and it's a good one.
it's mind blowing. Why are all these same
Man,
people in
I
the
had.
bloodlines, by the way, all the way back? See, that's the other thing. If the evil was coming in, like you said, right away from 1776, they were there
Yes,
before, they were there after. Look at some of the presidents, throughout the late 17 or early 1800s. I think it was Andrew Jackson on his deathbed. They're like, what are you most proud of? It's like somebody asking you, and you're kind of elderly and sick and you're on your last breath, like, what are you most proud of, and you're maybe have something that will just come right out. But his was, I killed the bankers. That's kind of funny. That's, I warded off the bankers from coming back and screwing up the whole country.
but
So,
he's smiling again, Mike, because that's who Trump has pictured to the left of him in the Oval Office, right?
yep,
Remember that? Remember
yep,
that painting of Andrew Jackson?
yep,
We also know about the courageous battle out of New Orleans of Andrew
yes.
Jackson. Uh, that's one that I kind of note is noteworthy. But Mike, we could go. You and I think we could go on and on till when we were talking about maybe doing this in the morning. But I've had some stuff, and I don't know some meetings and stuff. But I mean, dude, we've got when Lincoln was assassinated. Then you had JFK. People didn't wake up during the unforgettable day that JFK was assassinated. They must be under a rock. If if you ever knew evil, talk about an agenda, huh? I mean, a deep state agenda was when they gave us the message that day. But I think we have turned the tables, and it's folks like myself, yourself, and others. And I have to say it. I think Q has awoken a lot of folks, even though I'm not a per se Q guy, but I don't. attack anybody for following Q. You're starting to
Well,
see more and more of that, but
yeah. Well, even Q, I've noticed, has brought people in, and then after several months, if they don't believe the arrest or they're like Q sucks, they say that they're here though. Now they're floating around trying to figure it out, but they weren't before. So it's all positive. I could say that too. Like if
yes, sir.
I can't say Q or how some people put it, not real or fake because too much stuff in the beginning is all the stuff I was doing research on. So we know that they whatever, if it was some kind of psyop or whatever, that he shoved a lot of information in there that's truth to the core because well before Q was ever around, a lot of the stuff I've already done research on 18 years ago, it's like there's a lot of basis to it. Like all the satanic connection, certain people wearing upside down crosses like Hillary. I mean, that's all real stuff that I've seen. Like we talk about the good and evil stuff.
Adrenochrome.
Yeah, I mean, some of that. I mean, that stuff exists.
Look
It
at Bill
really is.
Cooper, man.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Bill Cooper. Some of the stuff that he talked about. Um, I've went back and read some of the stuff that he's. It is. I mean, you just have to kind of pick your brain up off the deck, man, and stick it back in there. I mean, I'm like,
he had
how did
Q
he know all
clearance.
this?
I got a video with him where he's like, "Hi, my name's Bill Cooper. I had Q clearance," and I mean, he had Q level. So when he was in, so I mean, that's the equivalent back. I mean, they've changed things, but I'll tell you what. Yeah, it's like that was my thing. I guess if I could share something here, I get and we're gonna do another one. We already have to. We're at the 40-minute mark. I told him he's got things to do in the morning. I got things to do. So we'll cut this. We'll cut this down. I'll let you talk in a minute. We'll give your final piece, your final thoughts. We'll schedule something again. We'll get together. And you let me know on the other guys. I haven't heard anything yet. But it doesn't
Okay,
matter if it
okay,
doesn't happen this week because they're busy. You just work it out, or they can text me. But Bill Cooper, for that point, I would just the information, folks, that he gave. It's still so valid on. But for me, early on, Bill Cooper or not, I started doing my own research, and it was I every door I kicked down on different facets, Bohemian Grove. We can just go into so many different things, and I the research would take me down, and then get to a door, and that door was always real evil that would lead to some kind of satanic connection. And back then, that either scared me or just went into realms that I didn't really, I've always believed in God, and, Jesus. I mean, but I didn't really per se on the real evil. I knew there was bad people on this planet. Hell, I'd seen it, but I just didn't. And then that I would stop on certain things 18, 20 years ago and go to something else. And then after researching something that totally wasn't nothing up here forefront wise, it was some evil going on, some trickery, some project. But man, when you dug down and started going through and you get into it and the doors, it'd go to something else. Like I was like, man. So then that's what got me. I was like, man, everything leads to this satanic cult, something going on here. What in the heck? And then, with the New World Order's thought of the spy grid and wanting to know everything, it's like, why is man doing that? And how is it collectively all over the planet, just different governments and programs, and it's all leading to want to know everything about their population and try to control them more. And what's that leading to? What if, who's guiding that? Well, if you do your research, you'll see, folks, that there's it's just these people, they channel things. They think they're talking to their gods. These people are more duped than the people that we're trying to wake up. I think they're more tricked. Because typically, I don't know too many people, and Bill Cooper had said this, and it stuck with me a long time ago. I don't, people don't get up in the morning and they're putting on their tie, looking in the mirror, and, I'm going to be evil today. I'm going to go out and I'm going to do evil things. It don't exist like that. These people literally, so the highest levels, are channeling. And the Bible is real clear on it, folks. You shouldn't play with Ouija boards. You shouldn't channel things. You shouldn't. You're always gonna that realm. You're gonna get an evil spirit. It's gonna lie to you and tell you all the things you want to know. You know, are you my uncle Rick who died? And it's gonna say yes. Prove it to me. How old would you be? And it's going to tell you how old it was. And you're like, that's my Uncle Rick. It's not. It's so anyway, these people play with these things. These things entice you. They give you some information. But anyway, the people, my research has led me, the people in the highest places are getting orders. They think it's from God. The thing's telling them everyone else on the planet's too stupid. You need to do this. And they're having them build up these grids and getting all this crap ready for something bigger. So there's that's just the research has pointed to all that. It's a collective thing, getting the stage ready for the new world order. All that's and maybe even the government, the way they do it with compartmentalization and projects only get built by 10% by one concrete guy, and even though they're building a whole underground city, you hire so many different companies and contractors and they only do 10%. They never know the whole picture of the job. That's what blew my one buddy's mind. He's like, so everyone, you're in the military, so you were part of the evil, corrupt crew. I was like, no. I was on a ship with 6,000 people. And there was, orders that just come down, man. So people don't get it. There's a lot to explain to, you're military. You get a little bit more than the average. But sometimes it's just, I'm glad that you said, earlier, like you just put some things together for me. Think that way, because I'm telling you, these people are smart, and they did push the wrong button when they poked that stick at Flynn. I think they messed with the wrong general. I really do. It looks like, they had a plan of sorts, that went into motion at that time. So I'm excited for the next few days. We've been getting stuff on Flynn all week, and I think he was a keystone of sorts. I think the gates are.
I think you're right. I mean, we watched what, like you mentioned when we talked earlier, now yesterday, but it's a good point.
Yeah, yes.
When they targeted the Tea Party folks with Miss Loomer, remember her in the
Yes.
IRS? Then they didn't stop
under
there.
Obama.
Did they?
Under Obama, they weaponized the IRS. Yep. Shut
That's
down a
right.
bunch. Yes.
They didn't stop there, but I'm the same, Mike. I'd be honored to come back on. Maybe you can come over my little bitty channel and let me interview
I
you one day, and
I would be honored. I would be honored to come over there.
it's that's what it's all about, Mike. I mean, it's getting the information out there, and what you just said, I can spring off of. I mean, you've got two sides, in my view, my opinion. You got the side of good, you got the side of evil. We're seeing it continue today. You're seeing wanting science to take the place of God. They're wanting to rewrite history, remove history. Something else that I've
Tear
talked
down
to my.
statues, right, and just kind of right in front of our faces.
They want to basically turn the world on its head. Make wherever did you think you would see, just like we see written on the Georgia Guidestones, and it, man, you talk about agendas not in a good way, about depopulation, putting God second when it should be first. The mantra of that we continue to see. For example, let's look at the new Green Deal.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's not.
right. But what I'm saying is, when in the heck did you ever think you'd wake up and see something like that, man?
No, exactly.
Like, what planet do
It's
these
like
people come from?
it's like the most bizarre, and all that stuff is now the new norm, and
It's like, where did we get all these genders from? I mean, It says it clearly in the Bible. There's only two genders, a man and a woman. You can't have one without the other. I mean,
And
there you go, brother.
that's why they had to get that away, and that's why a lot of people you get that stripped away. Now, that's the other thing that made me a firm believer was, and that all this is actually happening was for on the front out here where we're at, they've got this world so misconstrued. Everything is built to get everyone basically to worship Satan. All the TV shows, all the propaganda, all the music. It's like just a world of filth almost that our kids are born into. And, it's almost like impossible to, walk around without your kids seeing some kind of scene or, something in the TV show. So,
I deal with it on a day-to-day basis, Mike. I mean,
yeah.
I literally watched I'll say millennial, but he's got his phone. He's rolling the deck, bro. With his got the phone in one hand, the roller stick in the other, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, forget the chip, bro. They,
Yeah.
the phone is a great um, invention, but it's got some very bad effects as well.
Yeah.
But I think we should do another one. We're probably out of time now.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about 5G, the banking cabal. I just try to disseminate as much information out there, just like as you do. If I could, my biggest thing when I first started my YouTube channel, and I'm only like at 18,000. I mean, dude, you probably get that many a day, but
No.
I never got into it to be a big. I mean, you see, I have that southern drawl. I'm not. Let's just face it. I'm not a good voice for radio or anything like that. But I try. If I could change just one or two people,
That's all we
and
wanted. Yeah.
right, definitively say, hey, you helped me wake up. That's good enough for me, bro. It helps me sleep at night, dude.
Yeah. No, I got tired of only being down at my local Legion and arguing with a couple of and I was a chaplain down there for the Legion for a while. Then I became the first vice and all that. So it was all humbling, I was like, as chaplain, I ran for that. And they're like, we had the older veterans there would pass away, and I'm ordering flowers, calling the funeral homes, talking to family members, getting things coordinated. And I was like, I did that for a few years. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was like, you know, just lots of people seem to pass away. So, I mean, I did it. I was humbled and everything. And let me do this position. Let me help out over here. I was over there for 7 years helping out this Legion. Then we found a bunch of corruption there. But,
Using a firearm that you just can't even see. Where am I going with this? You know, this 2A is more than what people characterize it. It's a God given right. Um, and I guess I'll end with this. The biggest problem I see with folks at this day's time is patience. Go out to the range and teach your younger folks out there how to shoot, how to hunt. Going back to the phone comment, the biggest problem I see today is communication and patience. Being able to instill that into the folks, the younger generation. I mean, we're in such a fast paced generation right now. I think we need to instill patience in folks. And that, I'm sure, Mike, you've got 100 ideas you're already thinking about. And hopefully, I mean, do you kind of see the same thing? I mean, I think people just need to take a step back,
yeah,
use some patience, put God in it, and just, man, everything afloat.
brother,
Uh,
that's a good way to move forward for sure. And I got a little something I'll share on that as I close out this episode. Let's get together again. You got my number, I got yours, so we'll keep in touch. Text me tomorrow. We'll arrange something.
Yes, sir.
Brother, I appreciate you having you on. Give me a little salute here if you got one. You want to salute on our way out? All right, that was Matthew, a veteran, Coast Guard, brother of mine now, TruthNotFictionMatters.com. And he does great work. He works with several other good people in the movement, other veterans. He's always on the hunt, and I'm sure we're gonna have some great episodes coming up here. So we appreciate you coming on, Matthew, and again, thank you. And you guys, there you go. There you have it. That was a great. We kept talking about, we'll go a half hour, 40 minutes, nothing long. We just hit the hour. Or almost. By the time I'm done here, it will be an hour. So we're going to work something out. We're going to get on again here real soon. And I want you guys to get over there to Truth Not Fiction Matters. Check it out. Check out his channel.
Used to finish his shows with this.
Good night.
Life's like a ride in an amusement park. And when you go on it, you think it's real.
Because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored.
And it's very loud, but it's fun for a while. Some have been on the ride for a long time. They begin to question, is this real or is this just a ride?
And other people have remembered, and they come back to us and they say, hey, don't worry.
Don't be afraid ever. Because this is just a ride. And we kill those people. Shut him up. I've got a lot invested in this ride. Shut him up.
Look at my furrows of worry. Look at my big bank account.
My family, this has to be real. It's just a ride.
But we'll kill those good guys who try and tell us that. You ever notice that? And let the demons run amok?
But it doesn't matter. Because it's just a ride. And we can change it anytime we want.
It's only a choice. No effort, no work, no job.
No savings of money. Just a choice right now between fear and love.
Michael here from the Patriot Hour. Good afternoon to all the Patriots. Just a short message here for today. We are now entering exciting timelines. What I have up here on the screen is a tweet that came across my timeline from the U.S. Army's official Twitter account, The Calm Before the Storm. At this time, it simply means the calm is over. So let the show begin. The Untouchables have lost control. Now they become part of the past. The game begins, and their game ends. Those aren't rain clouds on the horizon. And what's this right here?
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. Support and defend.
Something's coming. Something's coming. Something's coming. Something's coming. Something's coming. Let the games begin. Come walk in my go, go crazy, crazy like Prince in the 1980s. Don't play me, I'm not Brady, too blown, you can't deflate me. Yes, ballin' is my calling, can't box me out, I'm all in. We built from, yes, y'all in, top of the charts and never falling. It's time, beast mode, put it on the line, free throws. It's Friday, I'm Debo, take it back like repo. Got on my headphones, eyes closed in my zone. I've been down this road every time I drove it home. Then set back up again like it's 1st and 10. Only aim to win, let the games begin. I was born for this, Sunday one I wanted it. We come too far to quit, ain't no stopping it. I was born for this, Sunday one I wanted it. We come too far to quit, ain't no stopping it. Ain't no stopping it, ain't no stopping it, ain't no stopping it. Let the games begin.